Whether you keep them in your home or love to see them in theirs, these are the creatures that bring us all together.
Reptiles. We're going to be delving into the experiences of reptile lovers from around the block and around the world. This is the Reptile Talk Podcast. What's up, everybody? This is Jeremy Turgeon from Brassman Reptiles.
And I'm Rob, and I'm keeping it real.
And we are super excited because this week we're doing an Instagram Live while we're recording this podcast because we're here with the one.
The only.
It's only one of you, right?
Sadly.
Okay.
The evil morph god
The
himself.
evil morph god. We dragged him out
of the building.
Of the building for a little bit.
And it brought me to another warm,
Yes,
Also to
another
another
warm room.
sweaty.
Incredibly sweaty room right now.
Yeah.
It's toasty in here.
So we're
and
just gonna
humid.
and humid. Oh
It's
yeah.
a
So we're
little
just kind of shooting the shit. I think we'll try to cover a few different things, but we're just reptile geeks talking about reptiles,
pretty much.
which
Is that the pretense of this show?
That
Yeah,
is
100%.
exactly what the pretense
Yep.
of the show is. That's all we do is just geek out with people about reptiles that they like.
Well, today I was geeking out on Instagram. The girl with the nice fingernails and the big jumping spider.
Oh yeah.
So what kind of jumping spider is that?
That was I can't remember. I think it might have been a Regis. That's because there's a couple different accounts I follow that have got some like big, massive jumping spiders on there. I didn't see that one though. I heard Emily was talking about, it, but I didn't see it.
She's like, and it's cleaning its face. It's doing this
With the
because I'm
pedipalps?
like a jumping
That's
spider
cool.
geek, and I mean I just find the ones around here. And they
Yeah.
don't get that big.
There's some really cool species out in like Arizona and California. There's like Phidippus tucks where they look like they're wearing a little tuxedo. They're like black and white, and then they got a red stripe on them, like a bright red stripe on them.
Well, this one is
and cardinals.
Big. This thing was like a jelly bean.
Oh, like
and,
Giganteus
my
or
God,
something?
I'm like such a jumping spider.
Because you were a bug guy before you were.
Yes,
Reptiles.
I'm still a bug guy.
Yeah,
Big time.
it's true.
I'm
He was
always-
getting ready to
You-
spray
dude,
some
if-
stuff for the monitor cages, and there was like a little grasshopper or something. He's like, "Why did the bugs always have to be in the places to get squished?"
Dude, I'm sitting here carrying. I had a couple ants like in some of the plastic boards for upstairs monitor cages.
Yeah.
They were inside the thing, and I'm like,
You got to get out.
I
Come
have
on.
to
Come
take
on,
the ant, and then
guys.
I went down. Like I knew where the whole colony was, so I had to bring it all the way down outside to where the pile of plastic
Oh,
was.
man, yeah,
and I go
yeah,
like
yeah.
this, just
Just wait.
for my own inner chi or whatever the frick it's called.
Your karma.
And then Dan goes, and I'm like, don't do that, dude. I go, I took them away from wherever.
Yeah, away from the
and
chaos.
I'm
All the
like,
harm.
what am I afraid of a carpenter ant inside my big steel concrete building?
Oh man.
No.
So, okay. Rob and I have known you for a long
while.
time.
A little while.
And I think it's safe to say that even to date, there's stuff that goes on at Nerd that makes us go, what?
Yeah.
Like
all
stuff
the
that we
time.
produce and like that we get the chance to work with. So I know that for you, the challenging stuff is always kind of what's captured your attention. So like ball pythons were the new unique thing. Now we're like moving into like bolins and basins and stuff like that. Why the challenging stuff? What draws you to that as opposed to just making really pretty ball pythons?
Well, I like to do things that other people aren't doing.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the way I guess it has to do with my weirdness as my existence. Because everything is always like, I'm drawn to things that are a curiosity to me.
Mm-hmm.
And as I see a lot of people like kind of doing the standard thing, I get kind of like, I appreciate it and I like it.
Yeah.
But just like the whole thing is like, I could be a better business person and just mass produce ball pythons. But the problem is it loses its, I guess I'm probably like have like the mind of, let's say, like an artist who doesn't want to stamp out things. And it's like, so they might work with oil for a while and then they're like, okay, now I want to do sculpting or whatever. So it's always trying to unravel that species, or at least getting it where I can understand where I think I can breed it or test its potential. And that's why I do get stuck on monitors, because the whole psychological aspect of them is, you saw me like I'm playing with them today, and I don't care if it's just the normal. When it does that certain reaction to me, and it's like pushing itself down into my hand, and you like
And it's like loving the
it
attention.
loves
Yeah.
that attention, and it's like this when that monitor's doing that, it's doing. You're not acting like you're supposed to.
Right.
You're a reptile, and you're not. You're supposed to be like, I am reptile, dead eyes.
Instinct.
Yeah.
I cannot think. And I'm like, look, a jumping spider, it actually thinks.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, and I'm enamored with that. So I like to do stuff that not everybody else is doing. It's just that challenge. Or like if we look at mangrove snakes, where it's a fantastic looking animal, but it hasn't really kind of come like front and center.
Yeah.
And that to me is like, besides it, the difficulty of certain ones, it's like, wow, I think there's way more people that should be able to appreciate this if we kind of pull it over here and then
Bring some
Give it the attention
to
it's due.
fiddle.
Yeah.
I just like to do, I like to, I guess I really like to do that. I like to bring it front and center, and then as I'm enamored with it, I like to share that and then try to get that contagious thing. But me,
Yeah.
I like water snakes, garter snakes, and all these other
And wood turtles.
wood turtles. Oh shit! Yeah, that's true. But I guess I like the challenges, and we pretty much can systematically, to a degree, breed ball pythons. And I love all the ball pythons and stuff like that, but that's just one part of the whole palette.
Yeah.
And I'm getting pressured right now in my editor's book.
Another book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they want me to. The complete
Ads.
ball python needs a new 100 pages, so I'm like, okay, I need to get a new camera, which I want to see what the next, like the Sony NEX.
Yep.
What's like their latest?
I don't
version
know.
of that.
I got the NX5.
Right,
and
which is the
it takes pretty good
5R, which I
pictures.
love.
Yeah.
So I just
Yeah.
want to know what they're thinking, because
Yeah.
for the book and stuff like that. So he's all over. He wants me to update both Ultimate and that, because they're. It's funny. He sent me my breakdown of all my royalties the other day, and I never even opened it. I didn't even look.
Oh,
It's
jeez.
in my text.
Dude.
And I'm like, I didn't even look. He's like, here's a breakdown of your royalties, and I'm like.
Now,
But you
send
said
the
you
check,
wanted to
right?
writing a new book, and or whatever. I'm just
Yeah.
like,
Now, you know what I want to know, though? I want to know if your royalty breakdowns are better or worse than what I make as a musician.
I think for the complete ball python, it was 45 grand or something like that.
Already better.
Yeah. Yeah.
I should become an author.
No, it's actually, it really is.
It's taxing.
It's taxing. It's 40 to 45 on that one. I don't even know what the ultimate. But the problem is printed media, and it's harder now. It's kind of
Oh,
like
of course, yeah.
us being musicians, and like you more so because your music is more received by people that are willing to pay some money or whatever.
Yeah.
But as far as playing metal or whatever, you could be Slayer, and it's still they're making money off the merch. They're not making.
Of course, yeah.
The
So
music,
printed
Yeah.
stuff. I mean,
That's why tours are so necessary, because that's where you make the money, is doing the merch when you're meeting
collectively,
fans and stuff.
I just try to get into as many different things, and then hope I can create enough money. I mean, I don't get that money. The money gets all right to Nerd. Nerd gets
Yeah,
all
yeah,
that
yeah.
money, and Zoo, and all that stuff. So that money, I've
Yeah.
never seen a dime of it. Like, it just, because it's usually like, send me more books, and then you guys sell it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then
It's gone. It's just
I'm
gone.
lucky. I'm like, I wrote this book so I can own one copy. And I wonder if I even still have the complete ball python.
Oof.
I'm pretty sure we saved one copy of each in the office.
Okay.
For like we should have one copy in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
building.
we
or
should
something.
have our own book.
That
Yeah.
is
Oh boy.
that is grim.
Oh man, yeah. I remember when we had gotten in like Vin Russo's book and some
Oh,
copies
yeah.
of Greg Maxwell's book. I was like, let's do like a book sale. Like you can get Kevin's Ultimate Ball Python,
Yep.
Vin
Vin Russo's
Russo's
book.
Boa book, and then Greg Maxwell's
Green
Green
Tree.
Tree book.
I could-
and I went
I-
to go take the picture, dude, and I was like, do we have more copies of Kevin's book? And they're like, we
Nope.
only have those 2.
Okay, look at this. This is I'm
Puff
looking at
face.
the puff face.
Yeah,
He
water
friggin'
snake.
knows.
Oh, yeah.
How do you even know that that's a puff face? Have you already seen this snake?
You showed it to me yesterday.
Okay, there we go. All right.
He's like, it's a picture
No,
of it
I
in
was
the
thinking
bin.
I was thinking I showed it to Jeremy.
You did show it to me also.
And okay, so I'm like, you bastard. I'm like,
You're like, you couldn't even see the face to tell that it's a puff-faced water snake. Yeah. They look like little anacondas. That's
Yeah.
cool. It's like a little GC cow almost.
look at that, dude.
Yeah, that's silly, dude. That
I'm
is
like,
silly.
I need to know more about that snake because I like that. That's
They're
Yeah.
cool, but I mean, and they do better than the file snakes when you get them in.
Why I'm asking about what do they eat?
Yeah,
And is it only
fish.
fit?
Fish and frogs. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the things that make you reconsider.
So I go,
Mhm.
eats only fish.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, you know, it's like
Sounded good.
trying to think about that, but there's some pretty interesting,
Yeah,
some interesting animals out there.
for sure. And you seem to be the guy that, gets them all. The
At least
blue-eyed
all the rare
leucistic
stuff.
king cobra and
She's
C
going into
negative
shed
albino
again.
mangrove.
Wait a
Is
minute, did she shed?
She is not shed yet, and her eyes are in blue again, like more blue, which is confusing the
Sheesh.
hell out of me because she
Because
went
she
into
was-
opaque, she went through blue, she came out of blue, and then now she's back in blue.
She wants to look crummy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's her thing. I'm gonna look crummy. 'Cause the
I
other day
wonder
I
if
was
we
like, wow,
need to
you look-
run cooler air in there, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What's amazing is I was just kind of staring at her the other day, and I was like, you've gotten very large.
Very big, very big, like significantly larger than
Big-
she got here in Thanksgiving.
Big, horrible personality.
Yeah.
with
Oh,
it.
yeah.
That hasn't. Well, not that we've worked on it, but it's literally she's so smart. She just has to hate you.
Yeah. It's like literally every time as soon as you walk into the room, she's like, what?
Yep,
Why are you here?
she's watching.
Leave me alone. Yeah. And it's like, we're not even here for you. I'm here to like touch that boa or something.
I earlier today I went near the female dwarf caiman,
Mm-hmm.
and like the last couple days she's come out to the front and give you a little something.
Yeah.
And today when I went in there, she came like 8 feet out of the cage, like snapping her jaws all over the place at me, and I was
Oh,
like, "What
man.
are you doing? What are you? I know that you're protecting your eggs, but you got
Usually
some
not that bad.
a little
yeah.
bee in your bonnet today."
A little bee in your bonnet. Oh, man.
She was about it.
Ah.
So, Kevin, I've seen a lot of different animals come and go and work with and projects that have come in and things that you've gotten excited about. But I don't know. I feel like whenever there's something new, like when Lilith comes, it's like a super focus point, and it's like catches the buzz. I don't know what when you see that project come into Nerd, there's a lot of buzz about it, and there's a lot of projects that we get in, it's buzz, and then we're still working on it, but we don't put it like right up at the front because like basins right now are huge. We're all about basins. The king cobras we're all about, but there's been a lot of projects that you're like very passionate about that don't always get pushed right out at the front. What is a project right now that you think that is something that you love working with at Nerd but doesn't get as much attention?
My tokay.
Tokay geckos, 100%. Yes.
So-
Yeah.
But the thing is like, so now that I've kind of got this new maybe building technique, I start thinking about like making something that goes literally to the ceiling where I can build the structure and then
Oh, and
spray it.
polystyrene.
Then the thing goes automatically into a drain thing, but maybe doesn't have to go on the floor. It's
Mhm.
above. So I'm trying to I'm thinking that kind of thing, like like the basins where you just build a whole run and then
Yeah.
it's got me. It has just like a different thought thing. The tokays, I mean, if you go and look in, they're big and all
They're
that
doing
stuff.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's just so much. But right now, like getting the monitor stuff, because there's so much potential with the monitors.
Oh yeah.
And it's just literally a matter of making the cage in. Because I was like reveling, looking at all the monitor genetics today, and I was just like, look at when this stuff is bigger, it's going to
Yep.
and it breeds, and we have to God.
Those pickle hypocelebe monitors, every time I see them, they just are different looking and better looking. Because when they were born, they were kind of like orangey colored, and then now they're getting more yellow, almost like a sulfur or a coming eye. And I just see that getting better and better and better and better.
And
as
we
they
have
grow.
a bunch of them. Like, literally, like, I was sitting there going, if we actually do videos of all the monitors, like, because we're going to have some stuff for sale, you look at that thing, and I was playing with multiple hypocelebensis today, and every little one I was holding, and they're like, oh, and
Yep,
they're like,
they're just in love with you.
You are
Yeah.
so sweet,
Smart.
and how can, like, you know, selling that for $2,500 or whatever, because it's fantastic, it's a morph and all, whatever, but its personality is A plus. And then I'm like playing with these albino water monitors, and they're like, I'm so wonderful, and I'm like, oh my god,
Dude,
this is wonderful, that's wonderful.
It was amazing when you went into, I think it was the pair of teen eggs or teen paws. Like,
Yep.
as soon as you opened the door, they were like, what?
Right
what?
into the- yep,
What?
yep.
Daddy! Like, I was like, oh my god,
and I
that's
took one
amazing.
out, and it's in my hand, and it goes and pushes itself down.
Did it, like,
It-
move its arms out? That's
Dude, it's pressed itself in there, and I was petting, and it was like,
Yeah,
it was
like loving it.
Dude, it literally loved the attention. It's like that. I haven't kind of really figured that out yet. Like my brain hasn't settled. Like I haven't gotten used to that idea because, you know, you have literally, it's a cold-blooded animal. Like everything that, you know, you think about reptiles, you know, they appreciate you, and you're like, you know, say bearded
provide
dragon, you know,
food
and
yeah.
well, bearded dragons, you know, curiosity and, you know, and all this different stuff. But this thing is like, you can let the water monitor go in the room, and then you can sit here, and it's just a matter of time before it comes to you,
and
it goes up in your lap, and then, you know, whatever, or it goes underneath something, comes out with dust bunnies on its face or whatever. That is probably, it's the ultimate reptile experience. I mean, we can look at, you know, Alicianus and, you know, Panther Chameleon, and they're all these fantastic looking crazy things, but it isn't that kind of brain. That it's just a whole new thing.
Very true.
And I don't seem to tire of it, and I certainly haven't figured it out yet. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna like ever get bored of it. I really don't. Like, I'm looking at some of these Het T negative ones that are bigger. I'm like, we gotta sell some. I'm like, I go in there and play with them. He's like, Daddy, and it's like you sit and you're rubbing its face, and you're like,
I can't see
Yeah, all your instincts should be telling you to run away, bite
And
me,
you're
or
like-
whip me with your tail. And you touch its face, which is like the most vulnerable part of that animal is its face with its eyes and its mouth. And they put their face right into
Right
your
to
hand
you.
so you can rub
Yeah.
them. It's,
and you're
it's
going
like
like this, and you start this, and all of a sudden, I want
They
to
wanna
come
climb on
you.
come
Yeah.
on you,
Yeah.
and be
It's
with you, and it's
surreal.
that is definitely one of all the things that I show people on the tour at Nerd. For people who are into reptiles, that's always the thing that catches people and like impresses them. Because if you've had experience with monitors before, like wild caught monitors or a Nile monitor, you bought it at an expo or something like that, you don't usually have a super positive experience with the monitor. It's not something that everyone's experienced. And then when you come to Nerd and you get to, you know, hold a baby monitor that's putting its chest right down into your hand or climbs up onto your shoulder and is tongue flicking your face to see what information you've got on there, that always blows people away. And then I'm like, oh, but wait, it's not just the babies. Let me take out a big one. And I pull out a 4.5 foot water monitor that's like climbing up on my shoulder and rubbing its face on my face. And they're like, I've never seen anything like that.
It's
I've
a
never
friendly
seen anything like
dinosaur.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
it really, it is that is, to me, is probably one of the most rewarding things, because obviously you get the appreciation from these people, but it's also rewarding to me every single time. Like I played with Boo Boo yesterday, and then I was, you know, just any of them. I was doing, you know, my tour the other day, private tour, and they were just like, you know, like blown away by the monitors. So like, that's amazing. And these girls were like, you know, like kind of like afraid of everything, or
Apprehensive.
yeah, very
Yeah.
good. But they were just like, wow. And
It's hard to not be captivated by that,
Yeah.
because I feel like every other bit of information that you gather from the rest of the world that's not Nerd about monitor lizards or something, shows them in generally a very negative or
They're
very
eating and-
food-oriented manner when they're a lot more aggressive, they're a lot more high-strung, and then you come to a place where you're like, no, here's like a whole wall of big monitors that literally just want to come love you.
Yeah.
It's really interesting though, because like when I got into all the reptiles, I was visually drawn to the aesthetics of that animal, what it looks like, the color morph. You know, that green tree python looks like this, that Jumeral's boa has this pink, and
Mm-hmm.
and you're always looking at it like that, and all that's obviously very important to me, like ball pythons, and you know, because you're really just like fascinated by how far can I push this, and how extreme, and how much different can I make this palette look that's unlike, you know, Python Regis. But then you start messing with, you know, some of these more reactive animals where you have to be more on point with how you flow with them, and then developing that trust with them where it's like the dwarf caiman. Like the dwarf caiman is like, that's years of earning. And when I'm looking at my big boys, and you're just like, how are you guys like just so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd think that you know, most people even who have experienced dwarf caiman, they say, you know, they're crazy. The second that you touch them, they start biting things, and you can't keep your hands on them. And then you look at ours, and you can pick them up gently, and they'll sit in your arms. I mean, they're not loving you like a monitor, but they're very tolerant of that touch. And like that's what draws me to scrubs. Is like scrubs. Not all scrubs are very visually like drawing you in, but the mind, when you see how they're thinking about things, because like I've seen retics that'll just bite things that are cold and like a hook or a tong or whatever. But when I see scrubs, I see them assessing every time you go in with a hook. They'll look at the hook, they'll come up to it, but they go, "Oh, this is not the threat," and you can see that mind moving. So like every time I handle a scrub, that's the most interesting thing to me, because I mean they're visually a lot of them are nice, like nice looking, but the mind, when I see their mind moving and just when I'm handling them, you can feel their muscles change, and that's the most
That
interesting thing to
barneck
me.
downstairs he's pretty. I was playing with him the other day. I was like getting the cage and like coming out and just like, okay, and I'm doing this, and he's
going
just like,
up.
yeah, but he
yeah.
was
Yeah.
no, I mean he's big,
Yeah.
Yeah, that one is a
He's
monster.
beefy.
and he's
But like,
that's
like you're saying
you know,
with the
but that's
monitors.
that's years of just developing that kind of relationship. And I mean, there are some animals that it's just going to be, you're going to look at the animal, and you know, let's say you're playing with a corn snake, pretty much most corn snakes are very much typical to the next
Yeah.
corn snake as far as personality.
Yeah.
And there are going to be, you know, variations in that, and then or somebody that really puts a lot more time into it. But it's reasonable. But if you look at something like a monitor, like a croc monitor or a water monitor, where the crazy, psychotic, I'm really going to hurt you, versus, oh my God, this thing is like trusted with little kids, and you don't even consider anything. Well, that difference
Yeah,
is
it's
night
huge.
and day.
Yeah.
We don't
Yeah.
have that night and day with the ball python. Even with the boa constrictor, you really don't
Yeah.
have that huge of a difference. Like
On
even
average,
the little
yeah.
croc monitors. Our little croc monitors are just like...
I opened up the door today, and they literally climbed right out. I didn't have to do anything. I put my hand down, and it climbed right up onto my shoulder.
I had one of the crocs out there for my private tour. I took it out, and we were goofing around with it, and I was petting his face, and it was like this, went right up on the guy's head, and it was absolutely A+,
Yep.
stellar. And and they're fantastic looking beasts too.
Yeah.
So if we do all the different color variants and of water monitors and pattern variants, you have that, and then you have the most rewarding thing, and those things become really members of your family.
Oh yeah, easily.
So I'm just as enamored with it. I just think there's just so many layers. I will continue, but I go back to a jumping spider because I'm still kind
There's a
of
mind there.
I'm kind of just like, I sit there and I look at this stuff, and I have this lingering appreciation when I see something behave as I would not think it should, or as other people don't think they should.
Yeah.
And that is like a big thing. Just even like just like looking at the wood turtles. I have like a shitload of pet wood turtles. They just happen to live in the wild.
Yeah.
But you know, I have like ones like Meathead and
You
you
started
know,
naming them. It's all over from
Yeah,
here.
yeah, that's right.
yeah, the Meathead will sit there, in the stream, and will sit on this branch.
I saw him the last time we were there.
He just
He
sits
literally
there.
sits there with his front legs over the top and then his back legs hanging down, and he just sits there and like stares at you.
Dude,
with
it could
his
be
arms
11
over the
o'clock,
thing.
and you go there and you shine a flashlight, and he's like, what? And
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
so Meathead's very cute, but most of the wood turtles right now are really, they're up on land, so I'm not getting to see a lot of wood turtles. But we've been opening up a new area of trees and all that stuff, and I've been so busy with the caging and stuff, I haven't done anything. But like that's like morning time or something like that.
Yeah.
And I haven't done.
But that work
Anything.
yielded you some pretty fast results.
Did I take you to the sand mounds I made? All the
No.
dirt mounds. The dirt mounds were completely. We've done a ton since you've seen.
Oh man, that's amazing. Because I remember when we went there and like your buddy that's helping you out with that was literally like, "Oh, I haven't seen any over here," and then you like look over there and you're like, "Two,
Right
there's
there."
two."
Yeah. That's it just continues to get better.
Yeah.
At some point, I'm going to try to pitch to that community that owns the 17 acres. I'm going to try to pitch about trying to put that into like a conservation easement and get the taxes reduced, because they're paying, you know, whatever the property taxes are. But I'm going to try to argue, because I want to preserve that.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
And the abutting thing. So, but I have to, you know, maybe do something and kind of pull it together so I know that those animals are going to be guaranteed some kind of thing. And then it all comes down to habitat management, improving what habitat we do have, is managing the habitat to make it better. So you could have shitloads of forest and, you know, rocky structures like in the Blue Hills. If you go in there and actually manage it, you can use a smaller amount of area to contain a larger population of animals, but covet those animals and maximize its potential. So that's like really interesting, because a lot of reptile conservation is absent of this kind of stuff. And the thing that's really troubling is a lot of the biologists and all the people that are actually in charge of all these things and designing these programs, they don't keep anything, so they actually have no understanding of the animals. And
Hey,
then
but they read books, Kev.
but then it's amazing is like then they like, so when I argue, you know, with my friends over at Fish and Game, I'm like you guys just basically suck how you interact with the public, because I work on so much public stuff. I got to teach these people reasons and empathy and values and why the animals are showing up in the yards and why these animals are doing this and why they should tolerate them. And you guys are like going, don't touch them, leave alone, endangered, threatened, whatever. And you don't do anything.
To
Yeah,
protect them. To
There
keep
was
them-
the rattlesnake that was in this woman's yard that was like 2 weeks ago. I reached out to her. Conservation officer had come over and gotten it, and she was geeked out. She's like, I'm thinking I need to sell my house. And I went and explained the whole thing. This is why that snake was there. Actually, it's a female. We know this female, and blah, blah, blah. And I went back and forth with her for a little bit on Instagram, and she's like, this is great. She's like, you've told me stuff, and she goes, I feel much better. She's like, does it have a family? Does it have kids? Is there going to be more? And all this different stuff. And I explained the whole thing. And I said, here's my number. So next time. But it was like really shocking. It's like, you guys are in charge of everything. You guys get the calls. You do everything. I'm doing this out of the goodness of my heart and the fact that I care about timber rattlesnakes and, you know, conservation. So I go through this stuff, and I do this stuff, and I don't understand it. And then, you know, then if you talk to them, they're like, well, some of us are really standoffish because, you know, the reptile people, you guys keep these animals. We don't keep wood turtles. We keep, you know, some
Exotic
other
things,
thing or
yeah.
something else.
Right.
But you think because all we are is, we just keep things and that's all we do. It's amazing how closed-minded and and the ignorance is terrible. But we're at the point where we really need to start getting progressive, because things are really starting to fall apart and run out, and, you know, animals are vanishing across the landscape. You know, if it's a toad, if it's a firefly, whatever, this stuff is vanishing, and I'm really troubled by all the insects that are vanishing. And, you know, if insects are vanishing, which insects are often the best to realize, you know, a niche and utilize things. And, you know, a lot of times they're saved just because they're so small. But they're being removed. You know, you don't drive anywhere now where you actually worry about all the dead bugs on your windshield. And that used to be a real friggin' problem.
Yeah.
And that's really troubling to me. It really is. Like, my dad used to drive from Billerica to Lexington, so it's like 30-minute drive. And there would be all sorts of dead bugs. That isn't even like a thing anymore.
Yeah.
And this is only in my little short lifetime.
Right.
You know, I remember all the box turtles that used to be by the Burlington Mall. They're long gone. And we're at least in my opinion, as far as, you know, the biological diversity, we're coming to the end of a lot of stuff, and it's very, very sad. It's very troubling, and it really bothers me, because I don't think it's right. I don't think that we, you know, deserve to be on this planet and just, you know, all we do is take. I'm so like obsessed with gluttony and over, you know, taking, and I'm, you know, even myself critical of, I'm a human, so even my existence, I am greatly at fault for, you know, being a burden to the planet. And, you know, I drive a car and do all these things, and I'm taking, so I try to offset things, and that's just for my own inner balance. You know, that's why I kind of like cheating vegan and all that stuff. It's just it's like my inner balance.
Right.
And, you know, I do a lot of detrimental things to the planet and exist, and I try to offset it with something positive.
It's important
in
stuff.
my own little
It's important stuff, man.
mind.
Yeah, but, you know, you're and I know there's probably multiple people in the industry that also like care about their native, you know, native wildlife, especially native reptiles. But I feel like you're probably one of the most, if not the most vocal, like in the town, you know, where you reside, to ensure.
They call me the turtle guy
Yeah.
everywhere I go. And
Dude, I remember walking into town hall with you, and they're all like, "Hi, Kevin."
Yeah, it's because I'm a fighter. So yeah, and it's and I think more of that needs to happen. Like, I was kind of heartbroken when I went snake hunting with Rob a couple weeks ago. We went to a place of his former haunts, and then he tells me a story about this red garter snake and all this different stuff, and it has like great value, and it's really important. Like, he grew up there, and then you lose like all these places he used to go, and that hurts me because that causes me to parallel and reflect on the things that I have lost of these different places. And we went around, and it just like, I've never even seen these places, and I was hurt just by because he's like, wow, it's all gone. Industrial Park.
Every part of it was gone. And I've literally got, if you go on my old YouTube channel, I got videos of me out there finding decay snakes, water snakes, ringneck snakes, garter snakes, ribbon snakes, milk snakes, like all hanging out in not even a giant area. But now it's all been developed. It's all condos. There's nothing left there.
And there is no silver lining. I have such contempt for humanity because we're just we're like a giant steamroller with no, like, just crushing everything underneath everything, and it's like we don't even think.
No.
Like, my friend Bill down in Florida, in his backyard, he had all these palmettos and woods, and all sorts of animals would come into his yard, and snakes were going into his snake buildings. It's all gone. They came in, and they're building a city, and when you build a city, you don't have to do any environmental stuff. So I didn't realize this, but like, if there's gopher tortoises, it doesn't matter.
They just pave over the holes.
Yeah, they bolt.
Zoo
If
Miami.
it's a city.
At Zoo Miami, right outside of there, they had some pine barrens that were protected for a long time, and then Walmart wanted to build a new store there, and then make like a strip mall basically. And I was talking to my friend Cindy, who works at Zoo Miami, and Ryan, and they were like, we petitioned for them, we showed them all this research that we've been doing in that area, and they still nixed it. And when they're doing development like that, they don't have to get the tortoises out. They literally just pave over the burrows, and they die inside the burrows.
Yeah,
it's terrible.
So that actually hurts me like great, because I'm so stupid and naive. But then, as you know, if I spend time being aware, so my friend Bill, who's really hurting when he sends me these videos, and it's just like, look at all these bulldozers and excavators, and there's like this beautiful thing where there's so much wildlife, and there's nothing. And I'm like, he's freaking out. Like he's like having mental trauma, and I know that he's gonna need to leave. But then he had this canal, and he had like, you know, he has a daughter, Olivia, and you know, they would spend a lot of mornings looking through stuff and fishing and seeing all the different stuff. They went in there, the canal, they pumped out the canal, then they go in with bulldozers and excavators, and they're scooping out the mud, and he watches them dumping it, and he can see all the stuff squirming, and then another bulldozer comes along and just crushes it and pushes it into a pile. And now they're draining, they've dug down into the water, into the water table, and now they're draining it. And his well, he just sends me a thing 2 days ago. He goes, my well's sucking air. And he's freaking out because they're calling, you know, whatever. It's like, we're not going to have any water. And he's telling me this stuff, and it's traumatizing me. And he's traumatized because he's my buddy. But I like knew this place, and this is happening all over the planet. And we are not thinking. And you know, then you go look at something like animal rights. Animal rights is like joke. You are so picking and choosing these public things, these talking points, but you are asleep on 99.9% of the other stuff that is absolutely no value at all. And like just that development next door to us, and I was putting so much stuff in there, and I got myself in trouble with the town and all sorts of, you know, we got ourselves caught us some crap for all that. And then Fish and Game, they dropped the ball because they did something called an AOT permit, which is alteration of terrain permit. And then I had put the sightings of blandings and wood turtles and all the different stuff. And all Fish and Game has to do is say, we recommend an environmental audit. And so when it weighed in, they didn't do it, which basically now means that somebody's being grimy, because I think because it's a big company like Caterpillar, they just were like, they just went silent, and they didn't want to like create any waves. And I'm so naive. I'm like, wow, I went and did all the stuff. I'm authenticating all this. I have all these wood turtles and all this different stuff. This critical area, and you didn't do anything. Because it basically, these laws suck, and they're not going to protect these animals. And I mean, stuff is just vanishing. And I also want to I try to slow it down. But damn, if you really start thinking about it, it is so friggin' discouraging.
It really is frustrating.
We're losing, you know, just losing these things, and it's like, I literally think that humans should ask permission from the planet if you can reproduce.
Yeah.
I really, it's there's like, at some point we're going to have to. There has to be some kind of population cap. There has to be, because
it's called COVID. It's just going to cap.
Well,
that's that's what's realistically going to happen, is that there's going to be some sort of
COVID,
biological thing
exactly,
the Earth is going, look, you can't have this many.
Keep going.
You can't keep doing it.
Exactly.
Well, we're making it ourselves. We're biologically, you know, making our own
horribleness. It's ridiculous.
There's got to be balance.
It's true.
We are so not balanced.
No, not at all.
There's nothing balanced about us, that's for sure.
No, not at all. I just want to take a quick second and just say thank you to everybody that's joined in on the live video, listening to us talk here on Instagram. I saw Will Nace and a few other people
pussy,
joined us.
poser.
Oh, damn.
Hi, Summer!
I don't know if he's still in, but
no.
Somebody can tell him that Kevin said that. But but thank you guys for tuning in. We hope that you guys are liking what we're talking about, and you can certainly catch this. It's going to go the interview is going to go up tonight, and I'll post this live video on the Instagram too, so you can check it out here if you want to see it in studio. And yeah, so thank you guys for checking it out. I'm gonna stop paying attention to you now. Sorry. Just have fun watching.
This is just reptile nerd or
It's
animal people.
Animal people geeking
Like
out.
Kevin
man.
is so
that's-
boring, man.
Oh,
Talking
man.
about jump spiders.
No, that's what
which
Donnie
are-
says whenever we talk about this.
Yeah.
He's like, "This is
Let's
boring."
not go down that road.
Yeah.
Look, he's already making the angry face. Stop.
On a better note,
Yeah.
it's looking like we might produce some timber rattlesnakes this year.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
was
it's
super
looking
geeked.
like that,
Timmy pulled
yeah.
me into the venomous room the other day and was like, "You got to look at this right here." And I was like, "Look at all that scale separation." She's like huge
yeah.
and loaded,
Looking
and I was like,
massive.
"You did it, Timmy. I'm so proud of you."
That is pretty sweet.
They're actually of all the rattlesnakes, they're like the hard one to breed.
Mhm.
Timber rattlesnakes, like
Yeah.
I know that people are like, you can breed all this, midget, spot
Yeah.
faded tiger, but those are not but they're like, we still can't breed the timbers.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
Sheesh.
yep, they're
Yep.
just Bob Ashley is just we've been trying and just whatever. It's they can be a friggin' trick
Yeah.
Mm.
for sure.
They're such amazing snakes, though. Like they're such an interesting.
So I saw a video today, and there's you see that guy with the, he's in Florida. It's like 95 degrees, and he sits down, and then all of a sudden this Eastern Diamondback rattlesnake, and he's sitting there. He's like, oh my god, and he was cool because he's like, I don't know what to do, and the rattlesnake is right there, but then there's somebody filming it. So he's
I know
like,
exactly who you're talking
so
about.
he's doing all this. But there's somebody filming it, and he's like, oh my
It
god,
wasn't
I
an
don't-
accident. I'll tell you
Okay,
that.
so what I was thinking that. So I'm like, all right, but he's playing it off like that,
Yeah.
and whatever, and all that, and he touches the tail and all that, so the snake goes behind him, and I'm sitting there going, that's really funny, because I remember one day I was at one of my rattlesnake dens, and I saw this big male crawling along, and I'm like, I think I can predict where he's going to go because of the structure. So I basically just sat down. I'm like, it's time for me to eat my sandwich.
Mhm.
And I just sat there, and I put my legs out, and I just sat there. And sure enough, he comes up to me, puts his head right up here, sniffs me, puts his head like this, flicking his thing, and I'm just like, it's one of my best, rattlesnake memories ever. And I just sat there, and for like, it was like a 20-something minute process. Slowly, he just crawled across me, and he was very aware of me,
Mm-hmm.
and
That's
there
awesome.
there's
So
no
cool.
ill will at all. I mean, you go up there and you don't do anything. There was no rattling. There's no, certainly I would never even consider. I'll do it with shorts.
Mhm.
I would not even give two shits. I was actually wearing long pants at the time, but I would definitely do it with shorts on because I do almost all my rattlesnake stuff with shorts.
So does that mean the rattlesnake free-handled you?
Probably so. Yeah, it's
One of the most dangerous animals on the planet, and right next to it, a rattlesnake.
Yes, exactly. Because definitely humans, we
Yeah.
are absolutely the most dangerous creature on the planet. But it's it's just the narrative. But I'm sure he probably got a lot of attention for that because there's people, oh God, ooh,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of
You
and
gotta
all
play
that
up the
stuff.
danger for the camera.
Yeah.
Danger.
The
So
danger, yeah.
this guy I
In
know,
air
he
quotes.
just went down to Georgia looking for Eastern Diamondbacks, and they just gassed a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
And and he's like, they're just doing it all down the gopher tortoise burrows, and they just take the little puffers and they're putting it down there, and those tortoises are just like dying, I'm sure, all over the place, and they just got like 113
Ridiculous.
Eastern Diamondbacks, and when he went looking, he couldn't find shit because he said they had just gone through, and those people are just country bumpkins would be a nice way to call them, what they call them.
Oof.
And
He'd have a redneck roundup.
It's time for a
yeah,
redneck
they're
roundup,
holding them all right now for a roundup,
Of course, yeah.
and then they just
It's crazy to
sell
me that
'em
that's
for
legal.
slaughter.
It's crazy to me that a rattlesnake roundup is something that's legal in this country. Because if you had said, "Look, I'm going to go collect all the feral cats, and we're going to skin them, we're going to cook them, we're going to take handprints of little kids and put them
Yeah.
on the walls," if
Yeah.
you said that, there would be people from Germany protesting
Yeah,
you
yeah,
right
yeah.
now.
That's
There
so
would be
true.
people all over the world
Yeah.
threatening to burn your house down. But because it's snakes,
That's fine.
it's fine.
So my my local news from my hometown just shared this thing. I guess there's some new research being done on Chrysopelia species, the flying snakes.
Ooh.
And they're just like doing more research on the locomotion and how they're able to glide the
To
way
glide,
they are.
yeah.
But of course, the headline is "Flying Snakes." Just when you thought you know,
Yes.
2020 was whatever. And I blew them up because I also I haven't seen him in a long time, but I know the owner of the news station and everything. And I was like, really, guys? Because people are like, oh my God, flying snakes and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, hey, man, 10 years ago, if you were watching Nat Geo, they had done like a documentary on Chrysopellia.
Probably
And it's
20 years ago.
Yeah, it's like, this isn't anything new, guys. But
Yep.
I went in, I was like, look, I get it. You guys need a headline that's going to get the views, but come on.
Yeah.
Like, you're picking the lowest hanging fruit
Yeah.
that you possibly could. Like, let's try to, use our brains a little bit. It was really irritating. But also, like, same news media that got a call when local animal control was called to get an anaconda out of somebody's house, and it
Milk
was
snake.
it was a bull snake. It was a bull snake. It was a small bull snake, and it hissed. So
They're
they
like,
freaked
"Anaconda!"
and called animal control.
Okay, so
and
animal
they said it's an
control's
anaconda.
holding the tongs.
Yeah.
Do you know what I did?
And the dude's
do you know
like,
what I did?
What did you do?
I called. I contacted them.
You remember- that
I
was years
shit-
ago. You remember
dude, I
that?
shit all over them.
Yeah.
I go, he's holding tongs. It's a gopher snake.
Yeah.
And I ridiculed. Then I publicly
Yep.
acknowledged it, and I said they need to fix it.
Yep.
I contacted the paper
Yep.
that was doing it. I also did another one. This is like, obviously our world's really blowing up now, but
Yeah.
there was one where there was a police department where they said that somebody had lost a ball python or something like that, and they had lost exotic snakes and whatever, and then they show a rat snake, and they had chopped its head off,
Oh my God.
right? And they said that it was they had to do this because they thought it was breeding. It was breed, and I'm like, it was your indigenous rat snake.
Jesus.
So if somebody tells you they lost a ball python, you find a rat snake and then they chop its head off. And I called up the police department, and I'm like, you've just created so much hysteria. I actually talked to somebody, and it was a woman, and she listened to me. But I go, that wasn't a ball python. It wasn't an
Unnecessary,
exotic.
yeah.
But they were saying that now that it's loose and they could breed and all the
nonsense
it was the worst bunch of information. I
Yeah.
was reading headlines this morning, and they're talking about like gun ownership has really gone up. Like there's like 2.1 million gun sales in the past X amount of time period, and then they said that gun violence has also gone up, and they were basically saying more guns, more gun violence, and those two things. What a horrible lie!
Yeah.
That narrative is so bad, and they're using that to push anti-gun thing, because that's a complete fucking lie. That is absolutely a lie compared to like where the gun violence is coming from. And it's not, these people that are rushing out to get guns because they're in fear, and they're like, okay, maybe I need to, things might be
Protection.
getting bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm just going to like Barb's grandparents who are dawdling at best just got a handgun. Like you wouldn't even think, but they're literally terrified. Because they we have like no way to protect ourselves, and like, can you teach us how to use it and whatever. And when you actually have people like that are actually going to that extreme, there's people are not feeling confident. But then you just the media, any kind of thing they can do to create hysteria.
To blow it up. Of course. I remember that bull snake anaconda thing. I remember after that had gotten all that attention when it
On the
went all over the
tongs.
place.
I
Yeah.
was pissed.
I remember that news station called me and they were like, so we want to do a recant story. Do you happen to own an anaconda? And I was
They're
like,
illegal.
no, you need to go to the zoo. I will show you a gopher snake though.
I can show you a picture of an anaconda and how this looks nothing like one.
Yeah, dude, I was like, oh my! I remember talking to the head of that area's animal control, and I was like, you need to fire that idiot.
Yeah.
Like,
And
goes right out there and is like, this
what's-
anaconda.
And like you know how sensitive I am to like just like anybody in our own industry that makes a mistake or does something and it goes public. That little bit of misinformation or negativity completely shapes one bad example ruins
for
1,000
sure.
good examples. And
sure.
media clings to these things, and they just run out there and miseducate.
Yeah.
And I'm traumatized by the media. I was looking at a thing with Terry Crews, and he was being schooled by like a reporter from like CNN, and the guy was literally talking to Terry like Terry was like an ignorant child. You know, and I take offense because I'm like, okay, so all you're interested in doing is your narrative. You are basically saying things. You're correcting Terry Crews, and Terry Crews is just trying to like, he's saying things, and then he's trying to like articulate what he's saying, and get people to like, hey, there is, you know, give and take here or something, whatever he's trying to say. Right. And the person was just like, once again, trying to belittle him or whatever, and I'm like, you can't fix this.
Yeah.
You can't. You can't fix these ignorant people with snakes. You know, it goes in the media. You can't even, because all they want to do is just make somebody look bad, or make a snake look bad, or make a pet owner look bad, and we're screwed. We just really, we've lost. We're so hypersensitive in today's day and age, where all we do is react. We're getting all of our information from social media. And then, you know, social media is like telling us what's going on in the world. We're not like aware of the fucking world. We're like,
we're aware of our phone.
My face is in here, and thank God I got Hillary Clinton on my phone. Helps me so much. And but we're getting, and myself included, I'm being educated and prodded and poked with this thing. You know, I got my TV, you know, all my networks and everything is gone. I haven't had that for like over 2 years now. Yeah. But I do sit there because things are out of control now, so I'm trying to look at some of the stuff. And but you know, I go look at Apple News, which is far left, very liberal, and then I'll go look at, you know, like Fox News, and you know, try to like find something. Yeah. And everything sucks. It really is. It's like, and then, you know, like with the worst presidency that we possibly, and it's not per se just who we have now. It's we don't have anybody ahead. We don't have anybody to choose. Yeah, we don't. There's grim. No hope. How can we be in this place? And the lying and this and all we're doing is, you know, we're just using up the planet, using up and whatever. And people are becoming. Man, we're
idiocracy.
It's literally idiocracy.
Yeah, it's scary to think about.
There's less kindness and there's less like idiocracy. At least you kind of like, it's laughable. Yeah. This isn't laughable. This is scary. There are people that are venomous and nasty and that will do horrible things to you and tear you apart on social media. I saw, of course, everything kind of goes politics. I saw a guy in Central Park who's a bird watcher.
I saw that.
Holy!
That
video. I was so offended. I'm like, look at this guy. This guy is like highly intelligent. He's a black man, and he's bird watching. And I'm like, yes. You're like, and he's just like, I'm just
observing nature, just hanging out.
You listen to the guy, and he's like, you know, when you've like for years you wanted to see this one bird. And I'm like, I know exactly. I talk their language. And he's like, and I'm out here looking, and then he's got some douchebag with a dog, and what that woman does, it makes me so fucking embarrassed to be a white person or whatever. And it's like, you are a lying, conniving piece of shit. And then she's like choking her dog and doing all this stuff. And I'm like,
I totally now disregards the animal that she actually loves. Dude, and it's all focused on this phone call.
I can't hear you because I'm being threatened. No, you can't hear because the dog is choking, and you are a lying piece of crap. Yep. And I that was like shocking to me.
Yeah.
Yep.
Can you imagine that you're out there looking for snakes and someone just calls the police on you? They're like, he was threatening me, and you're like, I was just hanging out here.
I remember going to going field herping on Mount Tom like years and years ago. And I was with my buddy Shaquem, you know, black guy, whatever. We're sitting over this. They had this abandoned ski ground.
You meet a man who's better prepared to be in the sun than you are.
Yeah, sure. Yes.
That's literally that's all it is to me.
So we're standing over this. Where they had like this wave pool or whatever, and we can see a water snake in the. So we're like staring at it, and this dude comes out. Hey, what are you doing? what are you doing? And we're like, we're looking at a snake there. You can't be here, blah, blah, blah. And then, like, accuses Shaquem of, like, essentially bringing me there so that we could do drugs. And I'm like, what? I'm 16.
There's a snake right.
It's a snake.
It's not a fake snake.
You know,
it's
he's
a
like,
real snake.
you can't be here doing drugs and all this other shit. And I'm like, oh, what I wanted to say, but, you know, I was like 6'10". I'm like, I don't know what the hell's happening. What I want to say was like, no, I'm here to add to the graffiti on the wall.
Yeah,
you know, I'm not here for the drugs.
I'm here to represent.
Yeah.
Yeah. For snizzle. But, you know, it's funny.
The turtle people.
So the turtle people, I was just, that my little stupid story.
I love that story.
The guy that was watching me, he's like, what is up with this white van?
Oh,
Kevin's been going to this one spot where he's finding turtles, right? And the neighbors in this neighborhood are all seeing this white van pop up. And this guy with his big long ponytail comes out and walks off into the woods, and then comes back like 20 minutes later and then drives off. So they're like, "What is he doing out? Is he up there?"
Yeah.
And so you got approached by one of the guys who lives there, and
Well,
he's like,
he was asking them. He's like, "What's up with this guy in the white van?" Oh, that's the, you know, whatever. And he's like, is that guy going in the woods and smoking doobies?
Yeah, that I was dying.
And I'm seeing the guy, and he comes over to me, and he's like, what do you do?
Yeah.
And I'm like looking at wood turtles, and I go, you got some very special turtles, and the guy's like, yeah, and then he tells me the story. And he's like, I was just like thinking, you know, I was like going to go confront you. You're just here, and, you know, all you do is go in the woods and go do drugs. And I'm like, I don't smoke no doobies, Jack. And I'm here strictly for the turtles. And it's just funny because, you know, I have to make fun of myself. You know, you got to be.
Yeah, you got to be able to laugh at yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, and boy, do I laugh at myself. And that
you
was.
and your doobie problem.
It's
he only does dabs, bro. Only dabs.
Yeah, it's the same thing when the water snake spot.
Yeah.
Like they were like, what is this guy doing and all that, and you know.
Dude, could you imagine if the people at the water snake spot didn't know you, and the first time seeing you was when you took the fishing pole with the frozen mice to feed the bullfrogs? Like, what the fuck?
He's fishing for frogs. Do you have hooks? No, it's not hooks. I just tape the mouse
and I have to tape it, and I keep dropping them, and I'm trying to figure this out.
It's always tough explaining like yourself and what you're doing. They're like, what?
Yeah.
And what?
Yeah.
And then you're like, but no, I'm good. You need to not like worry
don't
about
call the cops
like
on
don't
me.
like whatever. And then when I just got zapped by the cops like 2 weeks ago, thought I was a terrorist.
Oh my
I'm like,
gosh.
yeah, I'm
At the
looking.
dump.
I was looking at milkweed, and I was like, seeing if there was any caterpillars on them yet or whatever.
Yeah.
And that guy was just like, could not conceive.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, I was looking for snakes, and the guy's like, what?
What are you actually doing out here?
And I'm like, yeah, I go to the dump to look at nature. I literally told him that.
You're like, it's called Edge Habitat. Learn about it. I know
my
that you
gosh.
just graduated and everything, but
Yeah, he was like,
my gosh. I want to just quickly interrupt only because the live video is going to end in 40 seconds. So thank you guys for joining this live video. It's going to end here. I'm going to post it up later. You can catch the rest of this episode because we still have a few minutes left. It's going up tonight. Buzzsprout.com/ Reptile Talk. You can also check it out all over Apple Podcasts,
Google Podcasts,
Google
Stitcher.
Podcasts, Stitcher, all places you can listen to podcasts. Go check it out. It's going up tonight. Matt, you're late. Sorry, bud. See you guys later.
There you go.
Okay. All right. So that's
get to
done.
see
We can
that.
keep talking. Yeah.
Cool.
You know,
Alright,
you know, it was
I'll add that later.
we're Rob's going through the incubator. We're talking about black dragon eggs.
Yeah.
And then he's like, yeah, and these ivory eggs are gonna like hatch in like another month and a half,
Month
or
and a half,
whatever.
yep.
And I'm like, ivory eggs? And I'm like, they went bad.
Nope.
And no, but so when I was talking to Jacob, fucking Marble Mouth,
Mhm.
when the thing, cause we got 3 eggs.
Jacob or Dustin?
No,
Sorry.
Jacob.
Okay.
Jacob.
All right.
What
Jacob,
he
right?
gets-
He
Yeah, okay.
He was like whatever, and I'm like, so there's 3 eggs, and I knew one was kind of iffy, but the other 2, like,
We're good. Yeah,
looked
yeah.
They're
looks
huge.
good. And then I was talking to him, and like probably within a month of them being laid,
Mhm.
and I hear, oh, bad, and I'm like, oh, I go, well, yeah, there was only 3 eggs, and so I'm like, damn, the clutch,
second
the
clutch,
clutch is,
you know, yep.
the clutch is bad.
Yeah.
And that was, you know, like, damn, because that was bred to like a T negative, T positive. double visual. And then Rob's like, saying that, and I'm like,
What do you mean?
What do you
What are you
mean?
talking
What do
about?
you mean?
Jacob told me they were bad.
Nope.
And
There's
then
still two
I went
good
and looked
ones.
into it, and then I go to Jacob, like, where? And he goes, no, I said the potato was the one that's the bad potato. And I'm like, you motherfucker. And it's like,
man.
I go, can you be, like, clear next time? Because I'm like, all I hear is bad.
I mean, to
They went
play a little
bad.
bit of devil's advocate, he has had to spend a lot of time with Dustin, so he might have lost a few
He's
brain
catching-
cells.
he's
You know,
catching.
you've experienced that recently, so give him a little benefit, just a
He
tiny bit.
touches me a certain way, and where I'm just like, this is like,
Down in your no spot.
this is
Yeah, show me on the
futility.
doll.
It's like there's a lot of verbal stimulation that doesn't really.
Doesn't have any
I don't like.
substance.
I don't like get anything.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm just hearing like when I'm downstairs doing snakes and I'm hearing somebody upstairs talking in tongues. Like
Oh,
she
boy.
does that, dude.
Oh boy.
No, she does the tongues. She talks in
Yeah,
tongues. The
I
other
don't
day,
get that.
I was hearing, hi, and I was like, there she is. And then I went upstairs and said something, and she's like, yeah.
That was me.
Yeah,
Oh,
she's,
man.
she
Talking
goes,
See, I don't
about
get that.
snakes.
Whenever
she's
I'm
like,
in here,
so spiritual. Blah, blah, blah,
no,
blah.
see, I don't get any of that. When I'm in here recording, I hear "fuck" because I think she like gets bit by a mouse or whatever,
kung
and
fu,
she's like,
kung
like
fu
slamming.
fighting. And,
Oh my gosh, amazing.
Boy.
All right, so we're at that time.
It's about that time.
It's about that time where we wrap it up. But
But-
before we wrap it up,
we
we
have a
ask
closing
everybody
question.
one final wrap-up question. And that question is, what in the realm of Reptile, be it something you've got going on at Nerd or anywhere else that you've seen, what in the world of Reptile has you excited
About reptiles.
about reptiles?
jumping spider?
Yeah, yeah. I
That's
mean,
not a
that is-
reptile.
Sorry,
That doesn't
No.
matter.
sorry,
That's, wood
that
turtles,
big,
like
yeah, that
Yeah.
big jumping spider today had me pretty excited. I was just sitting there, because, the world and everything and all the different things, certainly things that I deal with, and then I get to sit here and like lose myself at this little thing, and its face is, and it was doing this. It's
Yeah.
wiping its face off, and I'm just like, wow, and yeah, so that has me excited. So there's, oh God,
I like.
It's
the
never
spiders.
an easy question.
I like those garter snakes. I like looking because I love garter snakes.
Oh,
you know
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So
yes, yep.
I love garter snakes because I love their brains. Dude,
Mhm.
I used to have like 5 eastern garter snakes, and my garter snakes knew me so well.
Yeah,
I would
yeah,
open
yeah.
the cage, they'd come right out and go right up my arm and just eat. I had them all eating pinkies, defrosted
Yes.
pinkies.
Yeah.
And those had literally no value, but I was so enamored with the brain,
Yeah,
of
yeah.
them. So I'm excited about the ivory eggs because you always just a weird chance. What are the chances?
Yep.
I'm excited about like, I guess I'm excited right now about like getting the new monitor cages more done, because getting animals where I can start assessing and thinking about the breeding and getting them raised and better ways to keep them. But what out there do I see that has me excited? I'm wondering. It's always like inward. It's like I always think of like how we could do something better, how I can build something better. The building thing is just like from the thought of it to actually the creation.
The inception, yeah.
That's
He spends
kind
more
of
time thinking about caging than animals.
because
Maybe so, yeah.
yeah, it certainly it goes through those things because what came first.
Yep,
Yeah.
And I always want to be able to keep them
as best we
better.
can.
Just trying to think like animal wise. I get excited.
There's a lot.
I get excited all
Crowley.
the time.
Yeah.
Tea-necked mangrove snakes.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, Crowley.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm like, why are they taking so long to give it eggs? I'm like, what is going on? Just over and over again. So I
Yeah.
am I have attention
There's a lot.
deficit disorder, so I don't
Yeah.
I'm not nearly that focused.
Yeah. The excitement varies by day and time. That's cool though.
I'm still
I'm-
happy we're still in business.
Yeah.
right now.
True that.
I
True
really am, and paying back my line of credit only
to spend more.
use it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've been a bad influence on me with that. I'm like, oh, cool new species. Like, I'm gonna get some cow kings. Hey, I got another cow king coming in. Oh, here's some money for that. I can I can spend a little bit more money. Here you go, Kev. I haven't even talked to you about like wholesale groups of things that I'm trying to procure either that you could potentially help me with, because I need to pay off some of my own line of credit first.
Oh, buying against some of your production.
Yeah. I'm like, let me make a couple more credit card payments before I even talk to this man.
Really, because money to me is like
Nothing. Yeah, it's like one of the last things you think of. Yeah, until the bill comes in the mail and you're like, fuck. Oh, okay. Oh man. Okay.
I'm excited about we're gonna get a Scoria Fire boa.
Oh yeah, I'm very excited about that.
I'm excited about that because that was no cheapie, but
yeah, but that's got some serious potential.
Yes.
One of my buddy Dom, who was one of the guys that helped me move up here last year, he just got a T positive VPI T positive fire.
Oh, cool.
boa. And he was like geeking out because he's like loved the fire project for a long time, but he was like geeking out about that, and he got a female fire het T-pos to pair up with it, and he's like, I'm so stoked about this
I get
project.
really excited when I'm looking at like IMG boas, just an IMG.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just look at that and I'm just like, yeah, I really, I like that. One thing I would like to do is, we have some new employees right now. I'd like to, hopefully we can get caught up, and then I'd like to take some of the energy. Like, I'd like to get downstairs straightened out. I could use, like, if we went over here and just housed it and get me so I can get caught up. So, because I'm really discouraged that I overlooked the Bollins thing, because I blew it, and it's my own fault. And now I hope, because she could
does
not.
her thing.
And wrapping up, so Kevin, if people want to find out more about you or what you're doing, where should they follow you?
You can follow me. Lately I've been very quiet on Evil Morph God on Instagram, and obviously we have New England Reptile on Instagram, and you can follow us on New England Reptile on YouTube. So New England Reptile Distributors. We have 210,000 subscribers yet? You think?
I think
we
so.
just hit it.
I think we did just hit it recently. Yeah.
So Donnie, that's good.
it's
And
been
then
really
we
good.
do Twitch.tv. You guys are doing really, really well on that. It's just I had a good time on Tuesday.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Just bing bang boom and stuff like that.
So thank you, Kevin, for coming for this episode.
Yes,
we
thank
appreciate
you.
it very much, and we'll have to do this again.
Yeah, I gotta go catch a plane and get home.
Go do that. Ride your Camaro.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.